Okay, so firstly, thank you for coming here today to talk about salsa. Just for the purpose of the video, we're all improvers, so we've been dancing around 1 or 2 years, that's fair to say. And for the purpose of the video, again, is it possible to go round and just say your names?
Hi, my name is Nefeli.
Hi, I'm Ali.
Hi, I'm Igor.
Hi, I'm Amy.
Hi, I'm Pat.
Okay, so firstly, what I'm quite interested in is how you define salsa. So what would you say the rules are of salsa that you have to follow?
In terms of rules, well, obviously 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 are the counts, or 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 if you're on 2. The man leads.
I guess personally, like a pretty big thing as to whether or not salsa is what music you're doing it to. So, like, salsa music came before the dance, as with most other styles of dance. So if you're doing salsa but to a completely different track, it's kind of less, it's more arguable whether or not it is actually salsa, because it isn't a salsa music. So having a salsa track is pretty important, personally.
Yeah, I think connecting like what Amy said, it's like listening to the music and putting these rules that we created after the music into the salsa track. You have to feel the music, understand when you're doing the 1, 2, 3, and 5, 6, 7 to actually dance it.
So that's a really interesting point. So picking up from what you said, Ali, do you think if you're listening to a salsa song and you're perhaps dancing bachata, and then you compare that to dancing salsa to a song that is not salsa, how, do you think that affects whether you're dancing salsa or not?
I'd say both of those aren't dancing salsa.
Okay,
I think
okay.
it would be like pretty difficult to dance bachata that it needs a 4 to a salsa track.
Just doesn't match.
It would be like dancing ballet to a hip hop song.
Okay. And do you think if you dance salsa without music, so if you do the basic 1, 2, 3, like is that your definition? So is it the movement?
I'd say you're doing salsa moves, but you're not dancing salsa.
Okay. And when would you
I
say?
disagree with that because I think you can dance without music.
But how can you put passion in it if you can't hear the music? I always feel that you can't put.
You could always kiss your partner. That's
Is that your move?
Or in guitar.
Try that. So, leading on from that, and again from what you said, Amy, about you've got the basic 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 if you're counting on 1. When would you say that a salsa dance stopped becoming a salsa dance? So if you do steps, for example, Susie Q, or if you do a dance, if you do a step that is considered a salsa step, but then if you extend that further and it's not in the rules of salsa, that it's not recognised as salsa, where is the line
Well,
for
I
you?
think all dances evolve. I think just because it's not in the original basic steps, I think some of the steps we probably do now weren't the original salsa steps. I think it's like that with quite most dances. If it fits to the music and it can't be discerned as like a definite other style. You can always have like a fusion.
Yeah, it's like salsa Brazilian salsa, Cuban salsa. It started in Cuba, but then we dance a different style of original salsa, which they just change a bit. It evolves.
Okay. So do you feel like if you were dancing salsa and you made up a move on the spot, like is there a move that you would say is absolutely not salsa at all? Like if you stood on the spot and did a funky chicken, like that's not salsa. And then you've got moves that are absolutely salsa, like do you know what I mean? Is there like a scale of where you snap out of it and you're like, no, this is not salsa? Is it maybe if you stood still, would you still call that salsa, or?
What's happening to the music? So if there's a break in the music and you kill the beat by standing still, then in my opinion you've danced the salsa very well, because you're not just doing moves in spite of the music.
I like that. Okay.
You are dancing to the music. So the best way I can describe my own opinion is there's a style of dance called locking, which has 5 moves, and that is basically it. But when people dance, they do a lot more than 5 moves, but everything else they do has the same groove. So if you're dancing salsa and you do a move that someone wouldn't necessarily recognise as one of the foundations of salsa, if it's the right groove and it fits, then I'd say that essentially there you've innovated.
Okay. Would you say it's like the feel Like you've mentioned the music. Would you say salsa is more about just going along and doing what you feel like doing, and if it works, and that's fine?
Yeah, it's a
I think
freestyle
keeping
dance.
time with 1, 2, 3,
Okay.
then yeah, it's a freestyle. You know, there's so many, there's infinite combinations you can do with arms, which way you turn.
Would you say salsa is subjective?
Yeah, I mean it's a creative expression, so there are rules, but it's so difficult to say whether or not an explicit move is or is not salsa,
Okay.
because taken out of context it could be, and done badly, the right move might also not be salsa.
Yeah, also the way people see it actually, like some people think it's a sexy dance, some people don't. Like from my culture, it's not something that is so close actually,
Mhm.
because you dance actually quite far from your partner. It's something that shocks people here. They think that this is the most sexiest dance they have around.
And do you feel that if you think back to when you first started, so when you maybe the first couple of months when you could physically dance it, but you were a bit unsure, maybe you didn't recognise the music. Do you think, comparing to where you are now, if you made up a move on the dance floor, or if you did a move that wasn't considered salsa, and you've just been saying that it's all about the feel of it and you just do what you want to do you think if you did that when you first started salsa, do you think almost that it makes a big difference the experience you have? Do you feel more comfortable making up moves now and it's more acceptable? Or do you think it is acceptable to make up moves when you just started?
I think it's always acceptable to make up, I mean, especially in freestyle. That's the kind of nature of freestyle. But I think that obviously the more kind of the foundations of salsa the easier it is to improvise on top of that. I think I would move away from improvising when I was a beginner, because I wasn't sure enough of the basics and I would just go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now I feel more comfortable to try out stuff.
As long as your partner can always follow, for the guys and the girls. So when we were beginners, we wouldn't be able to follow as well the improvers, and I wouldn't feel very comfortable in doing things that I was not taught. So.
Okay, and this is either a yes or no question. Have you ever been dancing and your partner has noticeably just sort of gone, what? And just stopped because you've done something, maybe either if you were a beginner and they thought you were lost and they stopped and tried to help you out, or when you've been doing something quite advanced, maybe you've been dancing with a beginner, has your partner ever just been like, what are you doing? Yeah?
I tried part of our routine with my sister, and she dances like much better than I do, but part of the routine I tried to lead her through, but it was not happening.
Okay.
It might be due to not having the music, but it's like it just didn't happen.
Okay. You guys.
When someone stops, generally I feel like it's very different for a guy when he's starting out. If you're dancing with a girl who's not a beginner, some of the people will think, if you're doing something like, oh, they're trying to do this, but they haven't done it right, and then they'll try and guess the move, which causes problems. And then sometimes you just won't lead correctly, and you're doing one thing, and you accidentally lead the girl to do another thing, and what you're doing, like, anatomically does not work. You're about to rip someone's shoulder, out of their socket. So it generally comes from thinking too much about what you're trying to do and not feeling enough. So if you're dancing with someone and you're leading a move, if you're too focused on what you're doing next, you might not notice in enough time that the hand feels awkward, and then you're in a position where you lock up.
Yeah, or just in a hangover on Sunday morning,
Yeah.
rehearsing with your partner, and you're not leading actually properly because you just don't feel the music, and your partner just stops you and say, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Please wake up and lead it.
So picking up on something you said before about what's like when you say you lead it wrong, when you lead it sort of incorrectly, would you say actually it's more important the feel of the dance? So you know you can lead a move that's not correct, but if it feels right, that's what matters. Is that sort of?
Yeah, kind of. So the reason why I think it's harder to innovate when you're a beginner, like Amy said, is because you're so focused on doing the moves. Once you've done the moves long enough, they feel natural. You don't have to think about it, so you can concentrate on listening to the music and adding passion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then when you do make a mistake, the groove is so ingrained that even if the move doesn't go exactly as you planned, you can still make it look and feel salsa-y.
Just throw it across body and start again.
Improvise.
Because it's really difficult. Like sometimes, like you're being led badly, or sometimes if they try to do a complicated move and you're not that advanced, you don't know what you're meant to be doing. And sometimes, especially if the guys I agree that you should try and dance to the music, but if they do a completely kind of different groove, it obviously, because the man's leading, it sometimes takes the girl like half a bar to kind of figure out what he's doing. It's not always immediately obvious what they're trying to tell you to do.
And do you think it makes a difference? So obviously you said the guy leads the girl. Does it make a difference if you want to be innovative? Do you think it makes a difference if the guy tries something new or if the girl tries something new? Is it different in terms of obviously the guy's leading, so he has the control? Do you think it's maybe easier for a guy to create something new because he can force the girl to do it? If the girl wants to do something new, is that more difficult?
The girl can try to do something new. She just follows. If someone is trying to do something new, it's the man. And
if I feel like I want to do something new, I would have to go, hey, can we try this move?
Otherwise,
It's
inside.
always
Or you would do something new when the guy is doing his steps far away from you and not in
Like
a
when
close
you
hand.
break
When
apart, there are things called shines where you can do them together, but generally, like you can do them separately. So you do your own thing. You've broken away from the partner, and so the girls can still try something new there.
but even in that way, like if the guy doesn't want you,
that's true.
The guy doesn't
you
really
want to shine the music.
That's true. Guy doesn't want you to do a move, you really can't.
I feel like the girl has more freedom in the styling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how they can kind of show who they are. I feel like salsa, when you do ballet, the more perfectly you do a move, the better you are as a ballet dancer.
Mm-hmm.
In salsa, within reason, the more individual flair you can add to a move, I think you're a better dancer.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I see it.